I usually just like to give it a 2-second head start because it always laps on other live systems. But all right, thanks for tuning in to Eagles Brawl of the Brawl Network. However, you're listening, you're either on Facebook Live, you're on Twitch, Periscope, YouTube, or wherever you're getting the live show. We greatly appreciate it. Joining me for this first pregame edition, my co-host Jonny Page. Johnny, over in the UK right now. You know, it's probably late in the afternoon over there. He took time out of his day, the weird hours that we have to do to hit on this pregame show because he was finally ready to jump on and talk Eagles. Johnny, how are we feeling today, man? What's going on? What's going through your mind?
Yeah, it is 3:30 here. So for those of you that don't know, the English games always kick off at 6 p.m. So whereas it's an afternoon thing for you, it's an evening thing over here. So I've tried to get on a few the last few weeks, but obviously we haven't been able to. So yeah, I've never done this live thing. It's quite cool. It looks very fancy. So fair play for setting this up. And yeah, fingers crossed today goes well. I'm just sharing a link as well, as I'm sure you are on Twitter as
Yep,
well.
just
So
gotta
there we
get
go.
these
That's all
all
done.
gotta get these all out there. But anyways, so what we're gonna do, we're gonna talk about how we feel about the Eagles and Cincinnati matchup, what our feelings are for that. Then we're also gonna talk some fantasy football, get into some DFS lineups. I got some DraftKings lineups I want to go over with some plays that I think are supposed to be played today. And then we'll have Giovanni on the show. He's going to give us a little Eagles hype speech that he does weekly, every week. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and let's get the show on the roll. So, Johnny, starting off, what's your feelings against the Bengals today? This is for everybody that's coming out saying the Eagles got to come out and whoop them, destroy them, beat them. Maybe this is a bad team. There's no guarantees right now with this Philadelphia Eagles team. The Bengals have some talent over there. Geno Atkins is out. That's a huge plus for the Eagles and Miles Sanders, in my opinion. Mike Daniels might also not play as well. They still have some talent on their offensive side of the ball. Joe Burrow looks good. Joe Mixon is still a good running back despite those offensive line troubles. They have Tyler Boyd. They have T. Higgins. They have John Ross. They have A.J. Green. Drew Sample is also an up-and-coming tight end where the Eagles linebackers struggle with tight ends lately. What's your thoughts, man? I mean, this is a team that they can't take lightly.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy win. I think anyone that says that hasn't watched the Eagles very closely last week. I'm starting to think we're just a sort of average, below average team, and the Bengals are probably a below average team. So I think we might win because we're probably due one, but I don't think it's going to be very, very easy. You mentioned there, I'm particularly worried about Boyd and Higgins. I'm sort of hoping they play AJ Green a lot and keep throwing to him, even if he's on Slay, because that would be lovely. But if they're smart, they'll put T. Higgins on Maddox because you know how much I liked Higgins. Pre-draft, I would have taken him at 22 personally. So I was very, very high on him. I think he's just big. He's got a big catch radius. I think Maddox hasn't had a very good 2 weeks. And then your boy, who's been terrible, unfortunately, Nick Coleman, unfortunately, I think might have another bad week because Tyler Boyd's really good. So yeah, I think they're going to score points. I think we'll hopefully score enough. So I'm guessing like it will be a mid-20s game, 24, 21, 27, 24, something along the lines of that. I think it's going to be a close one.
Just so our viewers know, I am wearing a Jeremiah Trotter jersey. I got a Nike jersey, Nike edition made because I was gonna wear my Reebok, but my dog got destroyed it with his
Oh,
muddy
lovely.
paws. So yeah, it's in the wash right now. But I did break out the Nike Jeremiah Trotter because I wanted to make my linebackers great again, just like everybody else does.
Yeah, I saw he tweeted it, didn't he? Trotter, I retweeted him, which is
Yeah,
pretty
because
cool.
he's right. Yeah, he knows it too. Our linebackers are since him, and I mean, D'Amico Ryans was great. Jordan Hicks was sparingly good, but I mean, it's been tough sledding since Jeremiah Trotter was back there for the team. So I said this is the week where I'm gonna break out the Trotter jersey, make my linebackers great again, pitch that out there for the world. That's what we're doing for the stream today. But to go into the Nicole Roby-Coleman thing, I've been defending him a little bit this week on the podcast per se because a lot of people are obviously going at him and deservingly so. He has played bad. I just think LA knew him better than he knew LA. Though. I think they attacked his weaknesses and they knew how to attack him because again he's been playing for them the last 2 years there. When he came out this week and said, when he came out this past week and said, I'm going to give the Eagles the whole entire playbook of LA. I'm going to give them all the details and everything like that. Other way around. The LA did that to their defense for him. I mean, their offense for him. So just out the window now. I think he's going to bounce back. I don't know if it's going to be this week because you're right. Tyler Boyd's a really tough opponent to go against. But I think he'll get his niche in Philadelphia. I don't think this is a guy that's just a bad player. He's not going to come to Philadelphia and just become bad. He played with Jim Schwartz in Buffalo. He knows the system. I think he just got abused by a team that knew him better than maybe the Eagles know him. So that's where I am with that. I just wanted to take away from that a little bit. But Joe Mixon is someone that the Eagles can't take lightly either. The run defense hasn't been the same. So I know that everybody's looking at that Bengals offensive line, and then Joe Mixon. If you're a Joe Mixon fantasy owner, you're like, Connor, what are you talking about?
Yeah, that's
I
me.
completely get
That's
that.
me.
But
Yep.
I avoided him this year. I had him last year, and I was like, no. After I saw that Bengals O line, they did barely improved it. They just got Jonah Williams back, pretty much, who has been playing well. But after they barely improved it and just have him back, I avoided him in all fantasy formats. I
Well,
made
they
sure
don't
I
throw
avoided
to
him this year.
Mixon. They don't throw to him, which is really weird because
They
I own
don't.
him in Dynasty.
It's weird.
So
They just paid him too. They just paid him, and I feel like they don't use him right.
Yeah, they don't throw it to him ever. Third down, they get Gio on the pitch all the time. I mean, fingers crossed,
Yeah,
Gio's out
it's
there as
weird
much as possible.
It's weird that he's out there a lot. Gio Bernard, it's because the joke on the NFL Twitter and Facebook last week was that Gio Bernard's still in the NFL. Uh, The Bengals make him noticeable. They use him all. I get he's a receiving back, but I mean, that's why I'm glad the Philadelphia Eagles aren't in the Cincinnati Bengals situation where they're still trying to figure out if they're trying to be loyal to their receiving back at the same time commit to Joe Mixon. The Eagles look like they're all in on Miles Sanders, and that there's nobody else that they're even focused on. That's how the Bengals should have been about Joe Mixon. So I'm glad that the Eagles are like that right now, because 77% of the backfield snaps last week for Miles Sanders. I'll tell everybody right now, if he is not in your DFS lineups, if you made a DraftKings lineup this morning, if you made a FanDuel lineup this morning, and you did running back and flex, and you didn't put Miles Sanders in there, rip it up.
So he's 6K on DraftKings, which is I don't know why he's 6K. Yeah, it's really weird. It's really weird.
He's below. He's $100 cheaper than Raheem Mostert. Raheem Mostert's out this week. Like, if you don't have him in your DraftKings lineup, I can't help you. I literally cannot help you with this show. If you come on here for us for daily fantasy advice, I can't help you if you do not put Miles Sanders in this week. Another guy that, because we have for the DFS, I always have these two must-have guys like that have to be in every lineup I make. I usually make like 5 to 6 lineups a week. I have two guys that I have to have in there. Miles Sanders is one. The other one might surprise a little everybody, but trust me, this is going to work. CeeDee Lamb for number 2 against Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle's pass defense is awful. I don't know if everybody on the shows would pay attention, but if you don't have Amari Cooper or CeeDee Lamb in your lineup this week, you are going to regret it. One of those guys is definitely going to. Both those guys last week went off. I expect the same this week. I think both of them will produce. So if you don't have one of the Cowboys wide receivers in your lineup, you're messing up. I wouldn't put Gallup though. I would choose Cooper and Lamb over Gallup in that situation for sure.
I'd love any of them to play for us right now. If Gallup wants to come and join, be my guest, because it's bad, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think you'll play. Actually, to be saying that, I wouldn't mind playing Deshaun this week. I feel like the Eagles are going to find
Deshaun's one of my plays this week.
Yeah, surely.
I didn't put Deshaun in my lineups per se, but I put him down in my notes as one of the players that you definitely want to consider playing this week. And he is cheap on both formats enough to get the value for his price tag. But I just, knowing this team and knowing how they don't utilize him properly, even with Rager being out, watch, this is going to be the game that they go crazy at.
I think they will
Deshaun Jackson with, because
I think they'll take 1 or 2 shots this game. I think
they have
last week they were obviously terrified of Aaron Donald, and they just played very sort of 3-5 step drops, very condensed. I think they'll take a few shots today to Deshaun. So all we need is to catch one. If he catches 2, then you've won. If he catches 1, then you're still all right.
Dakota, Mo Alley Cox against the Jets is a good play, but that is not who I'm actually going with at tight ends this week. That's actually not even the tight ends that he didn't make the list for me as the tight ends I wrote up. I wrote up Darren Waller, Tyler Higbee, Evan Ingram, Jordan Reed for GPPs, Dallas Goedert, and I put Logan Thomas. Those are my plays for tight end this week.
I've got similar. I'm avoiding Eagles completely. I must admit, I'm not playing Ertz or Goddard. I think their roles are too they're both going to get 8 to 10 targets probably. My favorite one is Hayden Hurst, assuming Julio Jones is out. I'm also playing a little bit of Logan Thomas like yourself, and I do have a couple of Drew Sample as well, mainly when I'm bringing it with Wentz and Deshaun. I'm sort of bringing it back with Sample and Boyd. So yeah, I don't mind Mo Alley Cox, to be honest. I think Rivers is actually that offense is going to score points today. But yeah.
I have a lot of Drew Sample because he's 3,500 on DraftKings.
Yeah, it's
That
cheap.
even if he scores once, that the value already hits right there. But my thing is, this is his first time being integrated in the offense as tight end one. So there could be. I know that this matchup is incredibly favorable because the Eagles tight ends are awful, but this could be an adjustment game for him as well because this is his first game starting in the NFL. So, but then again, it's the Eagles linebackers. So Dakota has
Yeah,
Murray, Sanders. I love the Kyler Murray play. Yes, Kyler Murray is one of the quarterbacks I
yeah,
picked this week.
agreed.
Miles Sanders, absolutely. Devin Singletary with Zach Moss out, I completely understand. DeAndre Hopkins, yes. Corey Davis, this week I was like, yes, play Corey Davis. And then the more time went on, the more I was watching, I kind of fell out of love with it. I was like, because even Jonnu Smith, I know Mo Cox destroyed the Vikings last week. I don't think it's going to be the same thing this week. I think they're actually going to scheme around Jonnu Smith. I think the safeties.
Yeah, I personally would never play Corey Davis, but I think I still haven't recovered from how badly he's played.
He went
in the
off week
NFL.
one. He scored last week
I'm
too.
still just out. He's one of those guys I'm just out on. I'm never using him, but everyone else I like. I really like DK as well. I mean, sadly, I really like DK. You can't really talk about him without thinking about the Eagles. But
I almost replaced DK with CD in my must play picks for this week because DK is such a huge pick. If all my lineups have him in it, if one of my DraftKings lineup doesn't have him in it, and I know that lineup's not going to hit, DK is going to destroy the Cowboys. He's going to destroy the Cowboys.
Calvin Ridley's good as well. Calvin Ridley's an easy bet. He looks very, very good this year.
Calvin Ridley's been in my first 2 week lineups. This is the first week he's not been in my lineup, so I could be wrong for that, Dakota. That's a good pick. The thing I would change Corey Davis out for Darius Slayton against San Francisco. I think Nick Mullins going to turn the ball over. I think the Giants are going to dominate the time of possession that game, which gives more opportunities for Darius Slayton, especially with Saquon Barkley out. Devontae Freeman's still going to adjust to the system. Deion Lewis, you cannot rely on for a bunch of carries. Wayne Gallman is meh. I think they're going to throw the ball a little bit more than they do run it this week, especially against that 49ers secondary that's missing Richard Sherman. If I'm playing a wide receiver this week, I would pick Darius Slayton over Corey Davis. So if you want to adjust that, I don't know if that's what you want to do. Ali Cox is a good play against the Jets. Marcus May is actually really good at covering the tight end. A lot of people don't give enough credit for that. I would choose the tight ends that we talked about over Mo Ali Cox. If you want to go for a budget play for tight end, because I know Mo Ali Cox, I think it was 4,100 on DraftKings. I don't know how much he was on FanDuel, but you can get Drew Sample for 35, and then they gives you some extra money to boost up maybe a Devin Singletary if you aren't that confident in him. That's what I would do personally, but the Colts defense, that's a huge pick. You have to have the Colts defense on the field. That was my number one defense of the week, actually. So that's the number one defense I was playing. I did actually put the Eagles defense in there a little bit. I know that's going to surprise some people. 2,800 on DraftKings, though. I mean,
yeah, whenever you're playing a rookie quarterback as well, whenever you're playing a rookie quarterback who might throw a lot, you got a chance, haven't you? And I think Burrow's really good, but he's a rookie in his third ever game.
I didn't dare.
So
this is the game that Darius Slay gets his interception. Darius Slay's going to get an interception this week, so that's I do believe he will pick off Joe Burrow, and I don't know who else is going to. I think the Eagles might get 2 to 3 interceptions this game. I think the Bengals are going to throw it a lot because I think the Eagles are going to start off fast. I'm expecting a first half Washington type game where they go out there and they take advantage of a bad defense that is still trying to figure it out. Whole new linebacking crew. The secondary, besides William Jackson, still doesn't have the greatest chemistry yet. They have good players out there. They just don't have the chemistry yet. I think this is a week. And then, Geno Atkins is out. Mike Daniels might not play. This is a week where I think the Eagles start off fast on offense, surprisingly so. I think Miles Sanders just hits the ground running. Like I said, Miles Sanders is a must-play for all DFS formats. But I think this is the game where the Eagles start off quick with scoring, and then the Bengals are going to have to be forced to pass it to catch up in the whole entire game. And that's where you're going to see the Joe Burrow turnovers come into play. So I think the Eagles defense for 2,800 on DraftKings, I think that's a fair play this week. The other defenses I wrote down were the Colts, obviously. The Steelers I like a lot. 49ers, because Daniel Jones is going to either fumble or he's going to throw an interception. You're going to get the turnovers from him. And then Texans defense I like a lot too. That was another defense I had picking today because I think Ben Roethlisberger still throws some picks. So
yeah, Texans, you're very similar. Yeah, Texans is my sort of budget. Go for it because you might get fluky, you might get a random pick six, you might get a fumble that's picked up and returned. And for 2,100, anything like that, and you're laughing.
Exactly. Are you going? Did you go wide receiver heavy with your lineups? I forgot to ask you because I think I went. I don't want to say I went wide receiver heavy, but I went with number one targets.
Yeah, I did today. I did today. So if I picked 5 lineups, my flex ended up being DK Metcalf, Deontay Johnson, Calvin Ridley, Adam Thielen, or KJ Hamler because he's dirt cheap. I normally play 3
TJ
running backs in
Hamler.
cash because it's safe. So in my
TJ
cash
Hamler
game,
is a
I
great
played
budget
3.
pick.
He's
TJ
3,000, which
Hamler's
is
a
just
great budget.
bizarre. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
if
'cause
I think Judy's a game time decision. So if
I
he's
don't
out,
think he's
then
expected to play. I don't think he's expected to play. And Sutton's
then
obviously done for the year, very sadly.
yeah, Hamler is a great play. Then I that's a good play. I think that's gonna because not only that, I know everybody's looking at the quarterback situation over there in Denver and like, I don't know, Drew Lock's not playing, but what is his name again? It's escaping my head. Driscoll, yeah, because he played for the Lions last year and he was gunning it. He has an arm. I don't think the KJ Hamler play against the Buccaneers secondary is a bad play at all. I don't know if they have the safety help because Antoine Winfield's great and all, still a rookie. I don't know if they have the safety help that can help the corners when KJ Hamler beats them over the top. It's a good play, my friend. I think it's a good play. All right. Let's sidetrack out of the DFS talk for the fantasy real quick. We're going to have Giovanni joining the show right now. He has to give his Eagles hype speech, what he does weekly. We love these Eagles hype speech. So let me, further ado, Philly Sports with Giovanni is joining Eagles Brawl right now. Let's go. What's up, Giovanni? What's going on, man? I love the hair. Thank you, Giovanni. I appreciate it. I love the hair. I love it. It's so vibrant green. The haircut looks phenomenal. Oh my God. You look like you're ready for an Eagles win today.
Yeah, it glows in the dark pretty much. It's awesome.
It looks like it does. When you're in your man cave and all the green lights are on, all you see is like your glasses.
Yeah.
I loved it. But so how are we feeling today? When you woke up this morning, I know I saw your video. You predicted 28-7, but when you woke up this morning, were you just confident right off the bat?
Yeah, I was just confident. I was like, yep, this is going to be an easy win.
Ooh,
I didn't have any hesitation. I was just, nope, this is going to be an easy win.
Yeah, that's what I like to hear. I need that, especially on my birthday. I need an Eagles win. So, Giovanni, Philly Sports with Giovanni's been out. You've been 2 episodes in so far.
Yep.
Combined, you're over 3,000 listens on both those episodes, which is insane. Insane. Everybody's loving your shows. Why don't you tell the audience what you have planned this week?
I'm going to have 4th and John on, and it's going to be awesome. We're going to, hopefully, it'll be an Eagles win podcast. Hopefully, I'll get my first Eagles win podcast because that'll make it even better.
We need you to get that first win Eagles podcast. I want to hear you on that microphone screaming into it with all your might. Like, yes, Carson's back. I need to hear that from you. I know E-Rock's joining you. I know Gail's joining you. That's going to be a crazy good episode. I'm excited to listen to it. I can't wait. That will be out Wednesday, 8 a.m. as usual. That's where Giovanni's show usually is. Again, I did notice that people are starting to leave 5-star ratings and reviews for Giovanni. You can continue to do so on Apple Podcast at Eagles Brawl. Continue to show this guy some support. This is his future right here. This is the man. This is his thing. Everybody's loving the analyst, Giovanni. I haven't heard anybody say anything like, "Oh, this is just an annoying podcast," or "This isn't a good." You're bringing good analysts to it. You are bringing good analysts to it. You kept it real about Doug. I love that. You told the audience this is what we need from Doug Peterson. You told the truth about Carson. So what are you thinking today? How many touchdowns does Carson throw? What does Miles Sanders do? We need some Giovanni predictions.
I think that hopefully Doug balances out the run game and the pass game. Because I know last game he was kind of easing towards the run game because we asked him for it and he gave it, but he didn't have a balance. So I think he needs to balance that out. Carson's got to throw some bombs. And yeah.
That's what I like. Yeah. I got my Jeremiah Trotter custom Nike jersey on this week because I want to make my linebackers great again. Our linebackers are not the best out there. So I'm reminiscing to my childhood days when the Eagles had a great linebacker. But what do you think Miles Sanders does? Do you think he has over 100 yards rushing today? I think he does.
Yeah. I think he'll have over 100 yards. I'm gonna say 130 at least.
Woo! I need that. I play DraftKings and FanDuel. I don't know if you were listening before the show started, but Miles Sanders is in all my lineups. So if he goes ahead and does that, I'm gonna give you some money from that lineup because I'm like, yeah, Giovanni got him all hype. He gave Miles Sanders the boost today that he needed. I'm gonna send some money your way.
I have him on fantasy too.
Yeah, that's a good pick for fantasy. We're gonna have to do a fantasy Eagles Brawl fantasy football league next year.
Yes.
Get the Brawl network involved so we can all beat them and show them that we're the best Brawl show in the network.
Yeah.
But you're also going on Babes on Broad as well for their pregame show. I'm hyped to see that. I can't wait to see you be all hype over there as well.
Yeah.
We all love that Giovanni hype. So wakes me up in the morning. I feed off your energy, and then I'm like, all right, the Eagles are gonna win. Let's go. Hopefully, it happens this week. I know you said 28-7. Is that you're still feeling the same way?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so.
I'm confident. So, just real quick, before we send you off, so that you can go do the rest of what you gotta do, I need to hear some predictions. I'm gonna ask you some questions. You're gonna answer yes or no. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
All right. Zach Ertz scores today.
Yes.
Darius Slay gets an interception.
Yes.
Brandon Graham strip sacks Joe Burrow.
Yes.
This is gonna be a fun game. I'm gonna definitely. I might have to record it too, so I can watch it after I watch it. Miles Sanders scores.
Yes.
Deshaun Jackson scores.
No.
Ooh, that's a fair one. I think that's fair. That's fair. They have it. You just utilize them right. That's fair. Boston Scott gets a touchdown.
Yes.
Yes. I love these predictions. All right. Hold on. We have one comment I want to show you, Gio. If anyone says anything negative, Gio, we will hire James Harrison to tackle them. So if anyone ever says anything bad about your show, Dakota, a good fan of Eagles Brawl, who listens to your show religiously and ours as well, will hire James Harrison, one of the best tacklers to ever play a league, to tackle them. So just so you know, Eagles Brawl Nation has your back. The fans have your back. We have you set for this show. But I love those predictions, buddy. I think those are great predictions. I'm glad that you think the Eagles bounce back this week. Do you think that Carson Wentz has that game where he just looks like he doesn't look like the first 2 weeks, where he looks like he's back and feeling himself and everything's getting back to normal?
Honestly, I think that this is a good game for Carson to show what he can do, and I think that he will prove himself.
I stand with you, Gio. I stand with you. Yes, we're not hopping off the Carson Wentz bandwagon. I know Philadelphia's been a little shaky about him since the first 2 games of the season. You don't bench Carson Wentz, Giovanni.
No, you don't.
You don't bench Carson Wentz. He will figure it out. He's talented. We're all got his back. Giovanni, I will be checking out Babes on Broad's pregame show to see how you react on there. Thanks for joining for the again. We'll see you next week, and then we'll see Wednesday, 8 a.m., episode 3, Philly Sports with Giovanni, E-Rock, and Gail Saunders from 4th and John join the show to talk to our guy Giovanni. Make sure you guys tune in. It's going to be a great episode. Giovanni, thanks for hopping on the pregame show.
Thank you for having me. Go Birds.
Go Birds! That was great. I love talking to him.
Oh, man.
He's one of the smartest kids in the world. I swear to you. So let's get back to this DFS talk. We just had to get our hype speech from Giovanni in there real quick because that's what gets. Look at you, Johnny. You're all excited too. You're ready to run through your wall back there.
How can you not be?
All right. I will give out. So to the few viewers that are watching right now, you're going to get exclusive info that we haven't announced yet, and we're waiting for the network to announce. But I'll say it to you guys for sneak peek. We just signed a sponsorship deal with DraftKings, so we will be sponsored by DraftKings. Our shows will be more focused on DraftKings than they are FanDuel. We're just going to go that route from now on. This is probably our last show where we just go straight FanDuel, actually, because this is the last week of September. So our deal starts this first week in October. So this is the last FanDuel episode that we'll ever mention FanDuel on here. It's straight DraftKings from now on. So I'm going to give my FanDuel lineups out for our last time celebrating FanDuel. I'm going to give my whole entire lineup out. You can decide if you like it and make it your own. You can tinker it in your own way, whatever you want to do. But this is the main lineup I'm going with in FanDuel today. You ready? You ready, Johnny?
Go for it. I don't play FanDuel actually, so pricing's different, I know. So I'll try my best to judge.
DraftKings is so much easier to make a lineup.
Yeah,
DraftKings is so much. FanDuel's salaries are outrageous. I mean, I will say DraftKings has caught up to the Dallas Goedert being used more in the Eagles offense than Zach Ertz because they're very close in salary. On FanDuel, they're like $1,000 separated. I think it's $1,200 separated actually to be exact this week. But further ado, here goes my FanDuel lineup. I am playing Russell Wilson this week at quarterback. He's in most of my lineups at quarterback. It's either him or Dak. I can't choose between the one, but Russell Wilson's in most of my lineups. Miles Sanders, obviously, at running back. Derrick Henry. That Vikings run defense is abysmal. It's not going to get better against Derrick Henry. CeeDee Lamb, as I mentioned, I think he's going to feast in the slot against the Seahawks. I don't think they have the slot guy that can handle CeeDee Lamb and what he's doing for the Cowboys right now. He has hit his rhythm. He has hit his rhythm in that offense. Dak is comfortable targeting him. You don't have to worry about playing a rookie in your DFS lineups this week. CeeDee Lamb is definitely the guy for you if you're playing a rookie. DK Metcalf is going to go off on the Cowboys secondary. He's my other wide receiver. And then Darius Slayton, again, against the 49ers. I love that matchup.
Yeah.
I love that matchup. Daniel Jones loves Darius Slayton, especially with his guy out. Saquon Barkley, the security blanket out. Evan Ingram is so unreliable. Sterling Shepard is also out as well. You have to put Darius Slayton in there to get against that 49ers secondary. Drew Sample is my tight end. Again, he's not that cheap on FanDuel. He's $4,800 on FanDuel, which is a little much. Yeah, he might not even live up to that salary, but I fit him in there because of his cost, because I went heavy with this lineup, as you guys could see. And I went Colts defense. DeForest Buckner is going to be making Sam Darnold see ghost again. So if that's the defense, if you want a defense that you could be 100% confident in this week, because a lot of them I'm like, even the ones that I picked were like, the Colts is it. That's the one that you could be number one. I know that the price shows for it too as well, but that's the one where you can just say, I could play them. I'm confident they're going to get me what I need to get. So that's my FanDuel lineup. That's the only lineup I'm using on FanDuel. I will not give away my DraftKings lineups because there's too many of them. And we also are about to sign a sponsorship deal with them, so I don't want to step on any toes. But FanDuel, we're sorry. You're now off Eagles Brawl. We'll be focusing on DraftKings specifically. If you guys have FanDuel's questions, obviously you can still ask on the show. You can ask in the comments. We will answer them. But this show will be strictly focused on DraftKings from now on after this week. So any other plays, Johnny? Is there anything else that you're doing today? What about your fantasy lineups, man? I'm interested to hear. Like, what's going on with you with fantasy?
In normal fantasy, see, I don't play standard fantasy. I'm a DraftKings / Dynasty boy. So
I have a Dynasty league.
I'm in 4 Dynasty lineups. A couple are better than others. I normally go after running backs. This week, so really DraftKings, my main lineup is sort of similar to yours. I think any plays you didn't mention, Allen Robinson is a hell of a play this week. My only worry with him is I just can't ever play him in cash because Trubisky scares the life out of me. Terry McLaurin is too cheap. I think he's 5,900, which is a bit weird. And if you want a total punt play, if you're playing a lot of Cardinals, which I'm playing quite a lot of Murray to Hopkins, if you want someone to bring it back, Kenny Golladay is active. So I'm sure he's not that healthy and he's not 100%, but Kenny Golladay can always go for a huge, huge game. So if you're playing a lot of Murray and Hopkins, which I am, kind of Murray always runs around all the time. So I'm very happy to put Murray in there. And then, if you want to bring it back with someone totally random, go for Golladay or maybe even Hawkinson if you want to take that route. I'm not personally. I've got a couple of lineups where I'm taking a swing because I reckon Golladay's ownership will be 1%, 2%, if that.
Yeah.
So,
for the rookies I like this week that not that many people are talking about, Jonathan Taylor against the Jets is a huge play. Marlon Mack is now done. They're going to have to lean on.
Well.
Josh Kelly, that was my next one against the Panthers. Abysmal run defense. I don't know if you noticed. I mean, I'm sure you did since you brought up Josh Kelly, but I don't know if a lot of people have noticed They're leaning more on Josh Kelly as the bell cow and Austin Eckler as the do-it-all back lately over there.
Oh, yeah, Kelly's
and,
on like 23 carries last week.
Yep. And when Anthony Lynn wants to ride a running back, I listen to Anthony Lynn, and I ride that running back as well. Joshua Kelly is actually overpriced, though, and I thought in DraftKings. He's $5,000. I thought he'd be a little bit less than that big with – because, I mean, this could be the game that Austin Eckler goes off, and then they ride the Austin Eckler train. So that's the only worry with Joshua Kelly. If Austin Eckler hits his stride immediately, maybe they continue to ride with Eckler. That's the only worry I would have. But Joshua Kelly, I think, is a fair play. He's in a couple of my DraftKings lineup. And Jonathan Taylor, like I said, Max out for the season. I know Nyheim Hines is a third down back at best. You cannot have him take a bunch of carries. I think it's going to be a Jonathan Taylor, especially against that Jets defense. I think it's going to be a Jonathan Taylor type usage game where he is 7,000. He's more than Miles Sanders on DraftKings, though. Yeah. That's the only where you're like, I don't know if he's going to meet the 7,000 per se, but he's going to have the usage. So if you want to take advantage of the usage, that's a good idea. And then Dakota says, congrats, boys. Dakota, you've always been a great fan. Your views for every single episode. I know you're in on every single episode, but your views are the huge reason why that was possible. So thank you for your continuing to tune in and give us some views, because every view matters. Literally. Everybody that watches for at least 2 seconds, even if you just peek in to hear what we're saying, even if you don't like us, thank you, because every view matters. And that's how we get these sponsorships. So thank you. But my fantasy teams, because I'm in a dynasty league as well. We invited some new people into that dynasty league, though. They've been making some heads. I don't think people really understand dynasty, man. I've been seeing some.
There's some bad trades out there.
Bad trades, bad drops. I've seen some people drop some people that are injured that might not even be out for the season. And I'm like, well, this is dynasty. First of all, you want to keep those rookies at hand. I don't know what's going on with people these days in dynasty results, but I've been seeing some ugly ass transactions on the dynasty side. But we do need to start a league next year. We need to have a big league. We need to have a big league. We need to invite our top fans from Eagles Brawl in on it. Have like a huge thing where we'll have some prizes to give away, trash talking, exclusive invites to the show to trash talk. Huge fantasy league. We're going to do that next year. Eagles Brawl, we'll do that next year. We got you guys. All right, Johnny, but we're about to wrap this up real quick. I just want to get some more thoughts on the game before we go into it. What are the key matchups that you're looking for? What are the key matchups you got your eyes on today?
Deshaun Jackson is going to be absolutely huge. I'm guessing we're going to play a lot of 1-2 personnel. It's something I mentioned on the pod on Wednesday. I mean, me and you like 1-2 personnel, and we said good things about it. But last week, the Eagles were at like 80% when they were losing for the whole game, which is mental. I mean, I don't think any team wants to be at 80% in 1-2 personnel in the current day. Yeah. Not when you're losing the whole game. The problem with this Eagles team, and it's been this way for 2 years now, and it drives me mad because I don't think it suits Wentz either, is I said it on Wednesday as well, they're a sort of dink and dunk offense. They're a lot of short passes, and Wentz's accuracy has always been spotty, and all you do in that situation is you have to be perfect. You want him to be like Drew Brees, and he's not that kind of a quarterback. They need to get some downfield throws. And one of my other pet peeves is seeing people on Twitter post like screenshots of Wentz missing deep throws when, as you know yourself, anyone that's sort of looked into the position a bit more deeply, you can't judge anything by a screenshot. I mean, look at JJ, I think on Whiteside last week. He looked reasonably open on his interception, yet according to Doug, he wasn't even part of the progression. So looking at someone running down the field wide open means nothing if it's not part of the progression. And what Doug did not call last week at all was any obvious shot plays. There was no plays where it was like, right, this is going deep or you're throwing it away. There was always like a sort of a built-in check-in. There was always sort of a check down. I want to see today just a few examples, go 1-2 personnel, put Deshaun and Hightower out there, run sort of 2 deep crossing routes, leave 7 into block, and let Wentz absolutely take a shot. And if it gets picked, then we'll say sorry and don't do it again. But you need to stretch your defense out. You need to. So I think the biggest matchup today, to be honest, is probably Deshaun. I would love to say Hightower would do something. I just don't think he's ready. So I think we're going to see more JJ, I think, a Whiteside. And if that's the case, if you're lucky, you get 2 catches from your starting X receiver. So Deshaun's a big matchup. And I think the other one is Higgins and Boyd. Mentioned it earlier on. I worry about Higgins on Maddox, and I worry about Boyd on Roby Coleman. I think you put it perfectly, though. It's a bit unfair on Roby Coleman. He doesn't suddenly turn trash overnight. I think the Rams knew what they were doing with him, but Boyd is very good. Boyd is very good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and I think obviously as well.
It wouldn't surprise us if Nicole Roby Coleman gets destroyed again. But like you said, I don't think he's that bad. But I am actually, that's one of my matchups I'm looking at today. I'm also looking at Josh Sweat and Jonah Williams. I want to see what happens there. I want to see a Josh.
Yeah.
This could be the game where Josh Sweat steps up and he goes, you know what? Derek Barnett's back and healthy, but I deserve more snaps than him.
Yeah, because he didn't play well last week either. He didn't play last week.
No, he didn't.
Play well last
week.
That's not his game. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the whole entire defensive line didn't play well last week.
They got it.
Malik Jackson made some plays.
Yeah, Short said.
Fletcher Cox,
as you said, he came out and said he got it totally wrong. So it's hard to judge players when your coach comes out and personally says he's at fault. I find it difficult to judge certain individuals in that situation. I just think they were put in a very, very poor place, unfortunately.
Fletcher Cox is also injured, and he was double teamed a lot because I mean, as you know, you went back and watched it as well. I think a lot of people always, because your guy BLG put out the statistic tweet of Fletcher Cox over the last 2 years.
Yeah, he plays well though. He always plays well. Unfortunately, he's been harmed by a poor secondary. If the Eagles could keep quarterbacks holding the ball, Cox would get better numbers. Eagles teams for years have picked apart the Eagles with short throws, and it means Cox and Graham's numbers are always depressed. There's not much they can do about it, really. Preach
to the freaking choir. That's what I've been trying to tell people all week. It's not the Fletcher Cox a bad player. He didn't just go bad out of nowhere. It's the offense is literally neutralize him. And
the second you saw last week when the Rams were in 3rd and long, Cox and Graham started to win. Sweat started to win. That's what they want. They need, and unfortunately they couldn't stop the run last week either. They kept giving up so many small plays on 1st and 2nd down that the Rams are always in like 3rd and 5, 3rd and 6. And when you're in that situation, the QB's only taking the 3-step drop. You've got no chance of getting a sack, really. So the Eagles need to push the Bengals back, hit Mixon hard on 1st down, get him into 2nd and 12. And then, then we might see Sweat hopefully do something. And Cox could do with a big game to calm down some of the tension online.
Yeah, Dakota's right about this one, though. If I see Avonte line up on T. Higgins, I'm going to be a little bit worried. I think T. Higgins will definitely abuse him. It's not even that a lot of people are killing Avonte Maddox this week, and rightfully so. He did play bad. I think he's a good corner, though. I do think he's a good corner.
I must admit, and I said this on Wednesday, I liked him. I watched him last year and liked him. I really didn't think he played well last week. I really didn't. It wasn't just Cup and Woods that beat him. Van Jefferson beat him really easily. So my worried levels are quite high, to be honest. And I liked him last year. As I did say in the piece that I wrote about him, though, we've never seen him play outside for a long period of time. So if he's playing badly, it shouldn't be a huge shock to us because he's played the slot his whole career. There was very few snaps to judge him outside. And he looked lost last week at times. And then Van Jefferson done him on like a corner. Cup beats most people anyway, but Cup was no match. And then when Woods was on him, there was a deep comeback, I remember, in the 3rd or 4th quarter. And he got like 4 or 5 yards of separation. It wasn't even close. So, I'm a little worried about him too.
Against T. Higgins for sure. I don't know. He just can't settle in a position, though. I think that's what it is. I know he played outside last year a lot for us, but you said it yourself. You think he's a nickel corner. Maybe he is. Or maybe he's a free safety. I don't know. But he can't settle in at a position unless they fully commit to him there and ride him there for a long period of time. So I think they should ride this Avonte Maddox wave, even if he struggles against T. Higgins. I think they should ride the Avonte Maddox because they don't really have any other options at all now. They completely threw any other option out the window. Ride the Avonte Maddox wave and make your decision if this is the outside corner you guys want to roll with long term. I think this because they literally have nobody. I mean, I'm not playing Trevor Williams over Avonte Maddox. That's stupid.
Christian Fulton and Trayvon Diggs are doing all right. I heard they were available in the 2nd round. But,
but I brought up Christian Fulton as one of the players. I brought that up as one of the players that I thought the Eagles should have picked, and I was told I was wrong for that. So
They clearly needed a second cornerback. I don't really get why they didn't. I don't know if they thought Jones and Douglas were going to be better. I don't know. But yeah, Maddox is there now, and he hasn't really got much choice but to play there.
They have a ton of faith in Avonte Maddox. They think Avonte Maddox should be the corner. That's a Schwartz
Yeah.
guy. Just like Nate Gary's a Schwartz guy, just like Barnett's a Schwartz guy. He just doesn't get these guys right. He doesn't pick his guys right. So, and not only that, a lot of people misconstrue what some people are saying about Malcolm Jenkins and what the Eagles are missing him for. Because Jim Schwartz kind of alluded to it this week. He said he doesn't have a pulse on the defense. Malcolm Jenkins was the leader that was giving him the pulse.
Yeah,
he doesn't
that's why
have that right now.
Yeah, on that note, when people were saying Jenkins got killed by the Raiders and Darren Waller, he did. But that doesn't mean he wouldn't have been useful to the Eagles right now. I do think the Eagles badly lack someone to organise that defense. And unfortunately, I think that could be a problem against teams like the Rams that play a lot of motion, that do a lot pre-snap. Bengals will do that as well. Zach Taylor coming from the McVay coaching tree. So you can expect to see some of that today. Yeah, I think it's a problem. I think communication, leadership, all you would say is it's going to get better. I think Mills and McLeod will only grow in the role as the season goes on. I thought Mills looked good last week personally, but I think even he was at fault partly for the first touchdown. I think he's always going to make mistakes because he's learning. It's a brand new position. So if you're going to let him start there without a realistic replacement, especially with Will Parks going down, then you sort of can't complain when he gets beat every so often.
Jenkins was deteriorating in coverage anyways. Him getting beat by Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends in the NFL now, is not really that big of a surprise. It would have happened in Philadelphia anyways. It happened last year multiple times, to be honest with you. But I do agree with you. That's a time thing. That's a timing thing. Once Bills gets a better feel for how he's playing his safety position, once he gets more comfortable into it, I think Schwartz will have that guy because Schwartz leans on Jalen Mills probably more than he would lean on Malcolm Jenkins anyways. So I fully expect that to get there once he gets a better feel for playing strong safety in the NFL. Not worried. Not worried about that part. I'm not saying bring back Jenkins either because I love Malcolm Jenkins. I know you did too. When we were making our top 10 of most important players for the Eagles this offseason, we even had a segment debating where we would put Malcolm Jenkins in that list. Yeah. I just think with the way that the secondary was structured, they couldn't afford to keep his interior in play in coverage with them. Now, with that being said, they replaced him with somebody who's not good in coverage either. So I don't know. I was really I know you and I are not as harsh on Jalen Mills as other people are. I think his ready reactability is exactly what you need to have to play the safety position in the NFL. So I do think he has the makings of being a safety, but I really thought, and I don't know, this injury is going to be tough. Missing all this time, missing all these snaps, missing all this key part of being in the system. But I really thought Will Parks is going to be a huge player for the Eagles this year. I really thought he was, with the opportunity that was going to be given, the snaps are going to be given, his experience playing these positions over Jalen Mills was going to give him the opportunity this year. I do believe that the Eagles' long-term plans, or at least what they're hoping to be, is Jalen Mills, Kayvon Wallace. I don't think Will Parks is part of their long-term plans. But in terms of this season, I did believe Will Parks had a huge opportunity here in Philadelphia. I still think he does. I just think coming back from this injury, the football is all about rhythm. All about rhythm. And if your rhythm is interrupted, because Carson Wentz is not on a rhythm at all, and he's a rhythm thrower. If your rhythm is interrupted, you're going to falter. So I'm interested to see if Will Parks comes back, how they use him, because he's going to have to get into a rhythm, especially off an injury, before he starts making an impact for this team. But if he was healthy, I think the safety position is a lot, but I don't think you hear that from Jim Schwartz this week.
I also think you could play Parks linebacker at times as well. So last week we'd have seen him
because
instead of Alex Riley and nickel, who Alex Riley should not be playing.
No, Duke Riley,
yeah.
I remember I have a good friend that's a Falcons fan, and when that trade happened, he laughed. He said, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much for getting Duke Riley off my team." And now I know why. Because Duke Riley was a special teamer for the Eagles last year. He wasn't a linebacker last year. Now that they're depending on him to be their weak side linebacker pretty much.
He's starting a nickel. He's a starter. Yeah.
And then Epps out and dime was – I know you don't want to play Kayvon Wallace just yet, I guess. But, I mean, Marcus Epps doesn't have that much experience more than Kayvon Wallace. That was no
I
that
don't know what to say about that. I don't know what. I mean, it's almost like big nickel, isn't it? Because they're playing three safeties. I don't know why you don't just go generic dime and play LeBlanc as well as rather than Ep should never be on the field. I don't think it's his fault. He's a special teams guy. He has been.
yeah, he's a good special teams player. I'll give it to him,
Yeah.
but he's not. I would prefer to see Kayvon Wallace and what he has over him, but that's what Jim Schwartz said. You got to keep it easy with the safety position. Got to take these rookies easy. But I'm like, Marcus Epps probably has what 200 more steps than Kayvon Wallace over his career. Like that's not you're not putting that much experience on over him. Yeah, the phantom injury because Will Parks even says for himself on Twitter that he's never been injured before in his football career. And then he comes to the Eagles that he's injured. Yeah, I actually have some tidbit of information for you that I want to see how you feel about it before we go off air and let our viewers in on it. I found out this week from digging around that one of the starting Eagles players does not work with the strength and conditioning staff. He works outside of the building for that. He works with his college strength and conditioning staff. So he refuses to work with the Eagles strength and conditioning staff because he doesn't trust them. And it's a new staff and everything. So, and he already doesn't trust them. He practices outside. He uses it with his college. That's what I've been told. And the Eagles are pissed about it. They don't want him to. That in the offseason, they allow players to go with different trainers and stuff and different coaches. They allow you that. But once it's in season, that all has to end. And this player has not ended that yet. And they approached him about it, and he doesn't want to. I don't blame him. But it is interesting that one of your own players, he's a starter, by the way. He's a starter on this team.
Right.
Does not trust the strength and conditioning staff. That comment reminded me because Will Parks never been injured before he gets to Philadelphia. Now, all of a sudden, he's banged up, doesn't want to play. I mean, he can't play. He's injured. Cox is injured again. I mean, Rager's hurt. Rager's injury was more of Carson Wentz's fault than the strength and conditioning staff because he into that throw. But just all the injuries. I mean, someone's got to give. And now you have one of your starting players doesn't even trust those guys. That's rough, man. I don't know what's going on over there. They hire new staff every year, but it's just not working out.
Yeah, I look forward to being off air to hearing the actual name now that you can't say on.
I cannot say. I will. I could promise everybody that the whole story will be revealed next offseason on Eagles Brawl. Is all I can say. The whole story of everything that I talk about with this situation will be revealed in the offseason on Eagles Brawl because the player did agree to come on the show and do a tell-all.
Oh,
so
there you go.
Yeah, so it will be in the offseason, I promise. I just cannot give away now, and I do not want to ruin this source because I need this information for the podcast. So I cannot give out any details now, but we will talk about it in the offseason. But yeah, he doesn't even trust the strength and conditioning staff. Go figure. No, it's not Kelsey. Dakota's taking a guess, but it's not Kelsey. If you could get Jason Kelsey to leak to the media, you're Derek Gunn or you're God, because he's not going to talk to anybody in the media. A while back, because I worked for USA Today, and I had the pleasure of having credentials and being on the sideline when I was in Philadelphia, and I remember Jason Kelsey was actually open with the media and open with talking to people and everything. And then his Twitter got hacked. And when his Twitter got hacked, the person posted a bunch of Hillary Clinton propaganda crap. This is back when Hillary Clinton was running for president. And ever since then, Jason Kelsey has been one of the most private people you'll ever meet in your life. He won't talk to anybody in the media. When he does, it's forced appearances. And if you aren't Derek Gunn or Dave Spadaro, good luck, because you're not going to get a peep out of him. So, no, it's not Jason Kelsey. But Jason Kelsey used to be like that. I remember fully because open practice, when the Eagles would do open practice, when I would get my sideline credentials. And 2016, yes, it was 2016, Wentz's rookie year. I got my sideline credentials when I was out there for the practice. And Jason Kelsey runs off. And I'm like, Jason, I work for Eagles Wire of USA Today. Can I get some quotes for an article? And he gave it to me. And then the following year, I tried to do the same thing. and he was like, and walked right out the field. He didn't talk to anybody. He didn't even sign autographs. So ever since this whole thing where he got his Twitter hacked and the person was posting propaganda, he's been so like quiet. Like he's been butting all those guys out. Alshon's looking info to Josina again, probably. Well, look, when Alshon Jeffrey comes back, I will be interested to see how he plays the course of once. We'll end the show with that real quick. I will be interested to see when Alshon's back, because I don't expect it. It's obviously not this weekend. He's out Cincinnati. I don't expect him next week against San Francisco. Pittsburgh, perhaps, but most likely Baltimore is when he'll be back. I want to see how Carson Wentz and Alshon Jeffrey play football together. I'm interested to see, because if they don't hit it off right, I expect another problem again. I do expect another problem again, because this is Alshon knows this is it with him in Philadelphia. Whatever he does when he gets back on the field moving forward is playing for he's showcasing his talent for the next team that picks him up, if they do. So he's going to need to produce to show that next team I can still play in the NFL. Come get me. If Carson Wentz and him aren't on the same page like last year or 2018, I'm interested to see if Josina starts chirping again. Because if so, it's going to get ugly, especially for a team that's already 0-2.
It's going to get awkward.
Because you have to think, even if Alshon is trying to win back the locker room, trying to get good graces with the fan base, his quarterback and all that stuff, what I just said is correct. He's playing for his next team once he plays for the Eagles. Once he finally gets back in the lineup, he's playing to continue his NFL career, because it's not going to be in Philadelphia. They're not going to keep him. If Carson Wentz holds him back, does he keep quiet? I don't think so. I don't think so, given everything I just said. But, Johnny, what's the score prediction? Let's end the show real quick, man.
Let's go. What's it earlier on? 27-24. That sounds like a reasonable guess. To the Eagles. I'm slightly optimistic. Slightly. Very, very cautiously, though.
Slightly optimistic. You don't have to optimistic. You think the defense...
I mean, optimistic, even though the bookies have got... Even though what? I mean, the line is Eagles by 6. So I guess technically I'm lower than the consensus.
With how the offense is looking right now, I would take the under on that still, too. I think I would, too. I don't know. The offense is not there where I could say they could beat somebody by like a touchdown yet. I don't know if I could say that quite yet. So I'm going to go 21-13 Eagles.
Right. Low scoring.
I don't think that... Look, I think this is a game where... I said this last week, and if it doesn't happen this week, then I'm going to be like, yo, this Matt Burke guy is not working out. Jim Schwartz, you ain't the same anymore. This defensive line has to destroy the Bengals offensive line this week. It has to put the pressure on Joe Burrow, has to create turnovers. It has, as long as you put the pressure on Burrow, then I think you can start not being so worried about Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins per se. But I need to see the pressure from this defensive line win this week. This offensive line is a really bad unit. It's worse than the Rams. They can't take advantage of this offensive line. Jim Schwartz and Matt Brick, I don't think you guys are the right people to lead this defense in. I'm looking at you guys. This is where we invest. This is where Jim Schwartz, when he came to Philadelphia, he forced this team to invest in the trenches. This is where they were dependent on winning in football. This is where the defense depends on winning. It's through the defensive line. Their defensive line does not meet the task this week. Then the guys that are calling the plays aren't doing their jobs. It's time to move on. I've always been a Jim Schwartz truther. I've always been a guy who I thought he's been a good defensive coordinator. He's a Super Bowl winning defensive coordinator. But if you go out to this game against a horrible, with all the money that's been invested, they signed Javon Hargrave the huge deal. They gave Malik Jackson huge money. Fletcher Cox is on his huge deal. Brandon Graham's on a huge deal. Derek Barnett's getting paid a lot. This defensive line could not take advantage of this weak offensive line in Cincinnati and dominate the game. I don't know that we have the guys in place to lead this defense. I don't know. I'd be a little looking at James Schwartz a little bit. I would be extremely worried, my friend. I'd be extremely worried.
I think the seat will be warm if they lose today. Let's put it that way.
Not even if they lose. If Joe Burrow goes off and they have to depend on like a last-minute field goal to win the game, and the defensive line gets no pressure, I'm not satisfied with Jim Schwartz after this game. I'm going to question his job again. I think the seat should be. I'm churning on the heat a little bit on his seat still again. And again, I've been a guy who I feel like I defend Jim Schwartz too much at sometimes. I think some people have when they go at him, I think they have more of a point than I do when I defend him. Do you think he's a good defensive coordinator? I just think if this defensive line, with all that's invested, with all the talent, doesn't take advantage of another weak offensive line again, put the pressure on a rookie quarterback to throw interceptions, get in a rookie quarterback's face, then he's not the defensive coordinator for us. Then they need to move on. That's one of the changes that they'll need to make immediately. That's just where I am on that. But I have the Eagles winning 21-13. We have Dom thinks 35-21. Wentz is a comeback game, and the offense looks like what we were expecting. That's a huge prediction, too. So that's a lot of scoring. If the Eagles score 35, I will be freaking impressed. If that offense puts up 35 points, I will be extremely impressed because they have not looked like that offense at all. So if they wake up and do that, I will be all in. But let's Dakota wants Jeff Lloyd to put the hammer down on Jim and Howie together. So Dakota's already fed up with those two guys. 2 games of the season. He's wants the heat turn up a lot. So, all right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Again, we had a great week of content. We had Ed on Monday to vent about all the Eagles frustrations. We had Mike K on to talk about Carson Wentz, Jalen Hurts, and Doug Peterson. We have Mark Schofield this week as well to talk about Carson Wentz's mechanics. You can go back to that and listen. I would definitely recommend that. As a very good analyst on what's going on with Carson Wentz, what is potentially wrong in his mechanics. Johnny did his first ever All-22 review. More of those to come. Please tune into those. We're calling them Turning the Page on All-22 with Jonny Page. I love it. I will do my quick hits if we had – we had a whole week of content where I didn't have to do quick hits. Probably not going to happen this week. I'll probably do some quick hits again. And then Philly Sports with Giovanni, again, Wednesday, 8 a.m. He has the 4th and John crew, E-Rock, and Gail Saunders all on that show. Don't forget to check it out. Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you next week.